He challenged the Earth Girl in combat, then woke up asking who won. His head felt heavy and memories of the previous day were fuzzy. He remembered standing on the field, facing a girl with fierce eyes. Her hair was short, dark, and messy, and she moved with a confidence that made Eli's chest tighten. He could still feel the sting of the last blow he received. He remembered swinging his fist, aiming carefully, only to have her sidestep with ease. Then she had countered with a strike so fast he had barely seen it. His arms ached, his legs were sore, but most of all, his pride hurt. He had come to prove himself, to show he could match anyone in combat. Eli's memory stopped there. Now he was lying on a soft bed inside a small room he did not recognize. The walls were smooth and glowing faintly, the kind of place he had only seen in science fiction movies. A thin console glowed beside the bed, with symbols that made no sense to him. As he tried to sit up, a voice spoke softly from a hidden speaker. "Welcome back, Eli. You have slept through your first cycle. Are you ready to continue?" Eli froze. The voice was calm, almost friendly, but it carried an edge that made him uneasy. Who is this?" he asked. His voice sounded rough, almost like it belonged to someone else. "You have questions and they will be answered," the voice said. "First, rise. There is someone here you will want to meet again." Eli swung his legs over the edge of the bed. His feet touched the cool floor and he realized he was wearing a light uniform that did not belong to him. It was smooth, made of some strange material that moved with his body. His heart started to beat faster. The voice continued to guide him, and he followed instinctively. The room opened into a larger chamber. In the middle there was a circle glowing faintly on the floor, and standing there as if waiting was the girl from his memory. She looked calm, almost smiling, but her eyes were sharp. "Leela," Eli whispered. He remembered her name suddenly. "Eli," she replied, bowing slightly, "I was wondering when you would wake up. Are you ready?" "Ready for what?" Eli asked, confusion twisting his voice. "For the challenge," Leela said. Her tone was confident, almost teasing. "The one you came here for, the one you wanted to test yourself in." Eli's mind raced. He remembered wanting a fair fight, wanting to know if he could actually match someone as skilled as her. But now something felt strange. This place, the lights, the strange uniform, even the voice, it all felt unreal. He looked around the room. The walls were curved, seamless, and glowing in soft blue lines that moved like waves. There were no windows, no doors in sight, and yet he knew that somehow he could not leave until this challenge ended. "You don't remember?" Leela asked softly, almost like she knew what he was thinking. "Remember what?" Eli asked, rubbing his temples. "This is not a normal fight," she said. "What you faced yesterday, what you will face now, it is a test. A test of skill, but also a test of mind and courage." Eli took a deep breath. The exhaustion from before was still heavy on him, but he felt something stir inside. A spark of excitement. He had always wanted a real challenge, a fight that would push him to his limits. And now it seemed he would get one. The circle on the floor glowed brighter. A soft hum filled the room, vibrating through the floor and into his bones. "Step into the circle," the voice instructed. "The fight begins in moments. Both of you will face each other and the outcome depends on skill, speed, and strategy." Eli glanced at Leela. She nodded once and he could see the focus in her eyes. He stepped forward cautiously, feeling the energy of the circle beneath his feet. As he stood opposite her, he realized that this was unlike any fight he had experienced. The floor seemed to respond to their movements, and the walls hummed with energy, almost as if they were watching. "Remember," the voice said, "this is about more than strength. It is about understanding, learning, and adapting. Every strike you make, every move you take matters." Eli's pulse quickened. He raised his hands instinctively, his body remembering the combat stance he had practiced for years. Leela mirrored him perfectly, her stance fluid, her muscles tense with readiness. Then, without warning, the floor beneath them glowed even brighter. A countdown appeared, projected in the air. 3, 2, 1, the fight began. Eli lunged forward, throwing a jab. Leela stepped to the side effortlessly, almost dancing around his attack. He swung his leg in a high kick and she ducked, sliding under it with speed he had never imagined. Each strike he made was met with perfect defense. Each movement he executed was anticipated. But Eli was not a novice. He adapted quickly, learning her rhythm, trying to predict her next move. He feinted, shifted weight, and managed to land a light strike on her shoulder. Leela glanced down, surprised, and then smiled slightly. "You are faster than I thought," she said, moving back to reset their positions. Eli grinned. "I didn't come here to lose," he said, almost laughing at the tension in the room. The fight continued, a blur of motion and energy. Eli realized that this was not just about strength. It was about thinking, observing, and adjusting. He started noticing patterns in Leela's movements, slight tells before she struck, tiny shifts in balance. Every strike he avoided, every touch he landed, gave him confidence. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. Time felt strange in this chamber. Sweat ran down Eli's face, his arms ached, his legs trembled, but he refused to stop. Leela was relentless, her eyes shining with determination. And yet there was something else, something in the way she moved, a rhythm that he could almost understand. Then, suddenly, the lights in the room flickered. A soft vibration ran through the chamber and both Eli and Leela froze. The circle beneath their feet pulsed, glowing brighter than before. The voice spoke again, calm but firm. "Time is up. Step back from the circle." Eli stumbled slightly, his body trembling with exhaustion. Leela did the same, taking a deep breath. For a moment they just looked at each other, sweat dripping, muscles tense, but eyes bright with energy. Who won?" Eli asked, his voice barely more than a whisper. The voice remained silent for a moment. Then it spoke. "That is for you to decide. The test is not about victory or defeat. It is about understanding yourself and understanding your opponent. Reflection is the key." Eli shook his head, confused but intrigued. He had expected a clear answer, a declaration of who was stronger, but instead he felt something deeper stirring inside him. Leela smiled, wiping sweat from her brow. "I think we both learned something," she said softly. "That's what matters, right?" Eli nodded slowly. Yeah, I think so." The room dimmed slightly, the blue glow softening. Eli felt his muscles relax, the tension fading, replaced by a strange sense of accomplishment. He had faced someone equal to him, someone who challenged every skill he had. And even though he did not know who won, he felt stronger, sharper, and more aware. The voice spoke one last time, fading into the hum of the chamber. "Rest now. Your journey has only begun." Eli sank to the floor, exhausted but satisfied. He looked at Leela, who sat across from him, and felt a strange connection. They had faced each other in combat, yes, but something unspoken had passed between them, a mutual respect, a shared understanding. For the first time in his life, Eli Turner realized that winning was not always about defeating someone else. Sometimes, it was about discovering how strong you could truly be. And as he closed his eyes, drifting into a light sleep, one question lingered in his mind. When he woke again, would he finally know who had really won? He woke slowly, the memory of the fight with Leela still vivid in his mind. He felt the ache in his muscles, the soreness in his arms and legs, but also a strange thrill running through his body. The chamber was quiet now, the soft blue light dim, and the strange hum of the walls almost soothing. He rose carefully, stretching his stiff limbs. Leela was already standing, her uniform loose now, her expression calm. She looked at him and nodded as if she had been waiting for him to wake. "Good morning," she said simply. "Morning," Eli replied, rubbing his eyes. I still don't understand this place." Leela gestured toward the glowing circle in the center of the room. "It's not important right now. What matters is what we do next. You need to train. To survive here, you need more than just strength." Eli frowned. "Train? After everything we just did? I can barely move. Leela smiled faintly. Exactly. That is why you need to push further. Yesterday you faced me once, but that was only a taste. Today you will learn to fight better, faster, and smarter. Eli looked around the chamber. He noticed that the walls now had strange markings, symbols that shifted slightly when he moved his eyes. The floor beneath the circle seemed to respond to their footsteps, lighting up in patterns as they walked. Everything about this place felt alive, but also dangerous. "Where are we?" he asked, his voice low. Leela shook her head. "It does not matter. What matters is the test. Whoever controls themselves, learns quickly, and adapts will survive. And you have potential." Eli felt a mix of pride and nervousness. Potential. It was the first time someone had said that to him with such certainty. He remembered all the times he had doubted himself, all the failures and mistakes. And now, here was a chance to prove that he could rise above them. The circle in the center of the room began to glow again, brighter than before. Leela stepped forward and motioned for Eli to follow. "Step in," she said. "We will begin your training in earnest." Eli hesitated for a moment, then nodded and stepped into the circle. Immediately, he felt a strange sensation, like electricity running through his body. His muscles twitched involuntarily and a rush of energy filled him. He stumbled slightly but caught himself. Leela was already steady, watching him with careful eyes. "Focus," she said. "Your mind controls your body. You must learn to move before you think and think before you act." Eli nodded, trying to calm his racing heart. The circle pulsed beneath his feet, glowing brighter with every heartbeat. Then, without warning, shapes appeared around them, holographic opponents moving quickly, striking and dodging with uncanny speed. "These are your first lessons," Leela said. "Do not fight me yet. Fight them. Learn, adapt." Eli glanced around. The holograms moved in patterns, some attacking from above, some from the sides. He could see that they tested different skills: speed, agility, strength, and awareness. He took a deep breath and began to move. At first, he struggled. The holograms were fast, their movements unpredictable. Eli swung, dodged, and blocked, but he was hit repeatedly by virtual strikes. Each impact sent a shock through his body, and his confidence wavered. "Do not give up," Leela called. "Observe, anticipate, adjust." Eli closed his eyes for a moment, breathing deeply. He remembered the fight with Leela from before, the way she moved, the rhythm she had. He began to look for patterns in the holograms, slight tells before they struck. Slowly, he began to dodge more effectively, land counterattacks, and move with purpose. The exercise grew harder. More holograms appeared, some larger, some faster. Eli's muscles ached, sweat poured down his face, but he refused to stop. With each strike he avoided, each enemy he countered, he felt himself growing stronger. After what felt like hours, the room fell silent. The holograms disappeared, leaving only Eli and Leela in the circle. Eli's chest heaved, his arms trembling, but his eyes shone with determination. "You improved," Leela said. "Much faster than I expected." Eli smiled weakly. "Thanks, I think I'm starting to understand." "Good," Leela said. "Understanding is everything. Strength without understanding is useless. Remember that." They stepped out of the circle and the chamber changed. The walls shifted, creating an arena-like space. Strange platforms floated above the ground, and a soft wind seemed to blow, even though there were no windows. "This is the next stage," Leela said. "You will fight me again. This time it will not be easy. Are you ready?" Eli took a deep breath, feeling the energy of the place. "I'm ready," he said firmly. The fight began immediately. Leela moved faster than before, her strikes sharp and precise. Eli blocked, dodged, and countered, but the gap between them was still wide. Each time he thought he had predicted her move, she shifted and surprised him. But Eli was learning. He remembered the lessons from the holograms, the patterns, the tells, the timing. Slowly, he began to anticipate her strikes, moving with more confidence, striking with more precision. The fight continued, a blur of motion and energy. Eli felt his body responding like never before. He landed a few strikes, enough to make Leela pause briefly, and a thrill ran through him. He could see the respect in her eyes, the acknowledgement of his growing skill. "You are improving quickly," Leela said, panting slightly. "But this is only the beginning. The real test is ahead." Eli nodded, wiping sweat from his face. "I know, I'm ready for it." The arena shifted again. Now obstacles appeared, walls, moving platforms, and traps. The environment was changing constantly, forcing Eli and Leela to adapt their strategy. It was no longer just a fight. It was a test of agility, awareness, and quick thinking. Eli moved carefully, leaping over traps, dodging sudden attacks, and keeping his focus on Leela. She was everywhere at once, striking from unexpected angles, but he was ready. He remembered every lesson, every adjustment, every observation. Slowly, he began to match her pace, moving fluidly, striking decisively. Time seemed to lose meaning. Minutes felt like hours, hours like minutes. The arena shifted, the platforms moved, the traps activated, but Eli adapted, learning with every step. Leela's eyes shone with admiration. "You have grown stronger," she said, her voice calm but filled with respect. "But remember, strength alone will not win. You must understand, control, and decide." Eli nodded. He felt a deep connection to her words. This was not just a fight, it was a journey of learning, of discovery. Every movement, every decision, every strike mattered. As the exercise ended, the arena faded, leaving them once again in the glowing circle. Both were panting, exhausted, but Eli felt something new inside him, a sense of confidence, a sense of purpose, and a sense of understanding. "You have done well today," Leela said. "Rest now. Tomorrow the challenges will be even greater." Eli sat down, leaning against the soft floor. He looked at Leela and smiled faintly. "I think I'm ready for whatever comes next." Leela returned the smile, her eyes sharp but kind. "Good. That is all anyone can ask. Remember, the journey is just beginning, and every step will teach you more about yourself than any fight ever could." Eli closed his eyes, letting the exhaustion wash over him. He had faced incredible challenges today, learned new skills, and discovered more about himself than he had ever known. And even though the future was uncertain, he felt ready to face it, one challenge at a time. Outside the chamber, the world was unknown, strange, and dangerous. But inside, Eli felt something powerful stirring, a spark of potential, a sense of strength, and a determination to keep growing, no matter what came next. And as he drifted into a deep sleep, he dreamed of the next fight, the next challenge, and the next step in a journey that would change him forever. Eli woke slowly, his body still sore from the previous day's training. He could feel the burn in his muscles, but now it was mixed with determination. He had learned a lot, but he knew the real challenge had only just begun. The chamber around him was quiet, bathed in the same soft blue light that seemed to breathe along with him. Leela was already standing by the glowing circle. She looked at him with calm eyes, her posture relaxed but alert. "Today will be different," she said softly. "You will face not just skill, but choice." Eli frowned. "Choice?" he asked. "I don't understand." Leela smiled faintly. "You will soon. The lessons are no longer about fighting alone. They are about understanding your limits, your instincts, and your mind. This is the stage where you begin to see what matters most in a battle and in life." Eli swallowed. His heart was beating fast. He had faced her before, and he had faced the holograms, but this sounded different. Something told him that this next stage would be the hardest yet. The circle beneath them pulsed with energy. Eli felt the familiar electric tingle running through his body as he stepped into it. He glanced at Leela, who nodded. Without warning, the floor around them shifted and the chamber transformed. The walls receded, opening into a vast landscape. Strange mountains rose in the distance, glowing faintly under a pale blue sky. Rivers of shimmering liquid wound between jagged rocks, and the ground beneath their feet seemed to pulse with life. Platforms floated above the rivers, moving slowly, creating paths that were both dangerous and necessary. Eli's eyes widened. This is incredible," he whispered. Leela nodded. "And it is deadly. Every step you take must be careful. Every choice can lead to success or failure. Today's test is as much about survival as it is about skill." Eli felt a thrill of fear and excitement. He had trained his body, learned to anticipate movements, but now he realized that the environment itself was a weapon. Every wrong step could end the fight, or worse. Leela moved first, leaping gracefully onto a floating platform. Eli followed, feeling the unstable surface beneath his feet. The platforms shifted slightly as they landed, forcing him to balance carefully. The first wave of holograms appeared immediately, striking from different angles. Eli blocked and dodged, using what he had learned from the previous day. But the environment added a new challenge. One wrong move, and he would fall into the shimmering river below. He realized quickly that he had to pay attention not just to Leela and the holograms, but to the platforms themselves. Leela moved like water, flowing with the shifting paths, striking with precision and grace. Eli tried to keep up, jumping, rolling, and attacking. Each strike he landed on a hologram was met with movement from another, forcing him to stay alert. "This is insane," Eli muttered, leaping across a gap. "How does she move like that?" Leela glanced back at him, her expression calm. "You will learn," she said. "Focus on your own movements, not mine. Adapt, or you will fail." Eli's mind raced. He began to notice small patterns in the environment, the rhythm of the floating platforms, the timing of their movement, the way the holograms attacked depending on where he stood. Slowly, he started to anticipate both his opponent and the stage itself. One of the holograms lunged at him from the side. Eli sidestepped, spinning and landing a strike that sent it disappearing in a flash of light. Another attacked from above. He ducked just in time, the hologram vanishing as it touched the platform. Each successful defense gave him more confidence, more awareness. Leela was relentless. She struck, she feinted, she moved with deadly precision. Eli blocked and countered, but he realized that this was no longer just about strength or speed. It was about timing, awareness, and control. Every choice mattered. Suddenly, a large platform shifted beneath them, tilting dangerously. Eli stumbled but caught himself just in time. A hologram leapt at him from the opposite side. He dodged instinctively, landing a strike that sent it fading into thin air. Leela smiled slightly. "Better," she said. "You are learning to adapt." Eli's arms ached, his legs burned, but he refused to slow down. He felt the rhythm of the platforms, the flow of the stage, and slowly began to move with it instead of against it. His strikes became sharper, his dodges smoother, and his awareness of Leela's movements more precise. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. It was impossible to tell. The environment kept changing. Rivers shifted, platforms rose and fell, and the holograms attacked without pause. Eli began to realize that this challenge was testing more than just his body. It was testing his mind, his focus, and his ability to stay calm under pressure. Then Leela did something unexpected. She stopped moving and raised her hands slightly. The holograms froze in place, hovering midair. The floating platform stilled. "You have done well," she said, her voice calm. "But the next stage is a choice. You will face a situation where your instincts will conflict with your training. How you respond will show your true strength." Eli's heart raced. "What do you mean?" Leela pointed to a platform ahead. On it, two holograms stood. One was small, weak-looking, and moving slowly. The other was large, fast, and aggressive. "You must choose which to attack first," she said. "Strike incorrectly and you will lose time and energy. Choose wisely and you will gain an advantage." Eli studied the holograms. The small one looked harmless, but he realized that if he ignored it, it could attack him from behind. The large one was clearly dangerous, but if he struck first, he might be able to remove the biggest threat. He took a deep breath. His muscles trembled, but his mind focused. He remembered Leela's words, understanding, adapting, deciding. He had to trust himself. With a swift motion, he attacked the large hologram first, dodging its counterattacks and landing a solid strike that made it disappear. Then he turned to the smaller one, striking carefully and efficiently to remove it as well. Leela nodded approvingly. "Well done," she said. "You have learned to make decisions under pressure. That is more important than winning every strike." Eli felt a rush of pride mixed with relief. He had survived the stage, learned new skills, and grown stronger. But he knew this was only the beginning. The chamber shifted again, creating a vast open space with jagged rocks, glowing rivers, and moving platforms. The final stage of the day's challenge was approaching. Eli and Leela stood facing each other, their bodies tired but ready. "This is it," Leela said softly. "The final test for today. You will face me one last time, and this time, everything you have learned will be tested." Eli nodded. He felt a surge of energy despite his exhaustion. He had trained, adapted, and learned. Now he was ready to face her fully, not just as a student, but as a fighter in his own right. The circle beneath their feet pulsed, and the stage shifted again, creating a vast arena with multiple levels, moving platforms, and environmental hazards. Holograms appeared around them, striking and retreating, forcing Eli to move constantly. Leela moved with deadly grace, striking with precision and speed. Eli blocked, dodged, and countered, his movements smoother and more confident than before. He felt a rhythm now, a flow that connected him to the stage, the holograms, and Leela herself. The fight continued, intense and exhausting. Eli's muscles screamed, his lungs burned, but he refused to stop. He had learned to move with purpose, to think ahead, and to make decisions quickly. Every strike he landed, every dodge he executed, was a testament to his growth. Finally, the stage shifted one last time. The holograms disappeared, the platform stilled, and Eli and Leela stood facing each other, sweat dripping, breathing hard, but eyes bright with respect. "You have done well," Leela said softly. "You have learned, adapted, and decided. That is more than most can do." Eli smiled, exhausted but satisfied. I think I understand now," he said. "It's not just about fighting, it's about learning, adapting, and trusting yourself." Leela nodded. "Exactly, and tomorrow the challenges will grow even more. But for now, rest. You have earned it." Eli leaned against a platform, closing his eyes. He had survived incredible challenges, learned new skills, and grown stronger in mind and body. And even though he did not know what lay ahead, he felt ready to face it, step by step, choice by choice. And as he drifted into sleep, he felt a spark of something powerful within him, a sense of potential, a sense of strength, and a determination to keep growing, no matter what challenges awaited. Eli woke to a soft hum, his body stiff and sore from the previous day's trials. He could feel the burn in his muscles, but the excitement of what lay ahead kept him alert. Today, Leela had promised, would be different. Today, the challenges would be more than physical. They would test his mind, his courage, and his instinct. Leela was already waiting by the glowing circle. Her eyes held a calm focus, sharp but not unkind. "You are ready," she said softly. "The next stage is not just about fighting. It is about understanding yourself, your limits, and how far you can push them." Eli nodded, trying to hide the nervousness that tightened his chest. He had grown stronger, yes, but he knew that this day would push him even further. "I'm ready," he said, though his voice trembled slightly. The circle beneath them pulsed with energy. Eli stepped in, feeling the familiar tingle run through his body. The floor shifted, and the chamber transformed, opening into a vast, open landscape unlike anything he had seen before. Mountains stretched into the sky, glowing rivers ran across jagged terrain, and floating platforms drifted slowly above the rivers, shifting unpredictably. Eli's eyes widened. "This is incredible," he whispered, more to himself than anyone else. Leela nodded. "It is not just beauty you must see. Every element here can be used against you or for you. The environment is part of the test. The moment Eli took a step forward, holograms appeared. They were faster than ever, some moving so quickly they left streaks of light behind them. Others were larger, their attacks powerful enough to knock him off the platforms if he wasn't careful. "Remember your training," Leela said. "Adapt, anticipate, decide." Eli focused, feeling the rhythm of the floating platforms beneath his feet. He remembered the lessons from yesterday, the flow of movement, the patterns of the attacks, and the need to trust his instincts. He moved with purpose, leaping across gaps, dodging strikes and countering when he could. The first wave of holograms vanished, but more appeared immediately. They attacked from all directions, testing every skill he had learned. Eli ducked under one strike, rolled across a platform to avoid another, and struck a hologram that lunged from above. Each successful move gave him confidence. Each misstep reminded him that this world was unpredictable. Then Leela moved. She struck with precision, her attacks sharper than ever. Eli blocked, but he felt the difference. She was no longer just an opponent. She was a teacher, pushing him to his limits, showing him the heights of skill he could reach. "You are improving," she said, striking again and forcing Eli to step back. "But do not rely solely on what you have learned. Today you must innovate, adapt in ways you have never tried before." Eli gritted his teeth. He realized she was right. All his previous techniques were useful, but he had to think faster, move smarter, and anticipate more. He began to study her movements more closely, looking for subtle cues, small shifts in balance, or patterns in her attacks. A large hologram appeared behind him, its massive form moving quickly. Eli spun just in time to strike it down, the impact sending a shock through his arms. Another appeared in front, and he dodged by leaping onto a floating platform. The arena around him was constantly changing, platforms moving, obstacles appearing, rivers glowing with energy, but he adapted with every step. Then Leela did something unexpected. She stopped striking and gestured toward a narrow path of platforms above a glowing river. "This is a choice," she said. "One path leads to safety and rest. The other leads to the next stage. You must decide quickly." Eli paused. He could feel his chest tightening. Safety was tempting, but he knew that resting now would not bring him closer to his goal. He had come here to learn, to grow, to test himself. His instincts told him which path to take, and he leaped forward, following the dangerous route. The platforms shifted beneath his feet, tilting and rotating. Eli jumped, rolled, and sprinted, barely keeping his balance. The holograms attacked relentlessly, forcing him to move faster, think quicker, and strike with precision. Each leap, each dodge, each strike tested his endurance, his skill, and his mind. Finally, he reached a platform that seemed more stable. He paused, breathing heavily, sweat pouring down his face. Leela appeared beside him, her expression calm but intense. "Good," she said. "You chose correctly, you trusted yourself. That is more important than any strike you can land." Eli nodded, trying to catch his breath. I think I'm starting to understand. It's not just fighting, it's knowing myself." Leela smiled faintly. "Exactly. Strength alone will not win battles. Understanding, control, and choice matter just as much." The chamber shifted again, creating a vast arena floating in midair. The platforms were smaller, moving faster, and the holograms were more aggressive than ever. Leela stepped forward, her eyes sharp, and spoke. "This is the final challenge for today," she said. "You will face me fully. No distractions, no training wheels. Everything you have learned will be tested." Eli felt a surge of fear mixed with excitement. He had trained, he had adapted, he had learned, but facing her fully was different. This was the ultimate test. The fight began instantly. Leela moved faster than ever, striking with deadly precision. Eli blocked, dodged, and countered, feeling his body respond like never before. He remembered every lesson, every pattern, every strategy he had learned. He moved fluidly, striking decisively and adapting to her every move. The battle was intense. Platforms shifted, rivers glowed, and holograms attacked at random. Eli had to move constantly, think quickly, and strike with precision. He could feel his strength pushing his limits, his mind racing to predict every movement and his instincts guiding every decision. For hours, the battle continued, or at least it felt like hours. Time seemed to bend in this strange chamber. Eli's muscles ached, his lungs burned, but he refused to give up. Every strike he blocked, every counter he made, was a testament to his growth. Finally, the arena fell silent. The platform stilled, the holograms vanished, and Eli and Leela stood facing each other, exhausted but alive. Both were breathing hard, sweat pouring down their faces, but their eyes shone with respect. "You have done well," Leela said softly. "You have learned, adapted, and survived. That is more than most can accomplish." Eli smiled faintly, trembling with exhaustion. I think I understand now," he said. "It's not about winning every fight, it's about learning, adapting, and trusting myself." Leela nodded. "Exactly. And tomorrow, the challenges will grow even greater. But for now, rest. You have earned it." Eli sank onto a platform, letting the exhaustion wash over him. He had faced incredible challenges, learned new skills, and discovered more about himself than he had ever known. Even though he did not know what lay ahead, he felt ready. And as he drifted into sleep, he felt a spark of something powerful inside him, a sense of potential, a sense of strength, and a determination to face whatever came next. This day had tested his body, his mind, and his courage. But Eli Turner knew one thing clearly. He was not the same person who had walked into this chamber days ago. He was stronger, wiser, and more aware. And he was ready to face the ultimate challenge that awaited. Eli woke to a soft, steady hum. His body was sore, but a deep focus had settled over him. Today was the final stage. He could feel it in the energy of the chamber, in the way the lights pulsed, and in Leela's calm but sharp gaze. There was no hesitation in her eyes today. "You are ready," Leela said, stepping beside him. "This is the moment you have trained for. Your skill, your choices, and your courage will be tested together. Are you prepared to face everything?" Eli nodded, though his chest thumped with nervous excitement. "I'm ready," he said. The glowing circle beneath their feet pulsed and expanded. The chamber transformed, opening into a vast, open arena unlike any before. Towers of glowing rock rose from the ground, rivers of light flowed between platforms, and moving bridges connected distant peaks. The environment was alive with energy, responding to every movement, every step. Holograms appeared immediately, more than ever before. Fast, strong, and unpredictable, they surrounded Eli from every side. But he no longer felt panic. He remembered everything he had learned: observation, adaptation, patience, and courage. He moved fluidly, dodging attacks, striking decisively, and using the environment to his advantage. Leela appeared, her movements sharp and precise. She attacked, testing him, forcing him to anticipate her strikes and adapt instantly. Eli blocked, countered, and flowed with her rhythm. Every move was a challenge, every strike an opportunity to grow. Then the arena shifted suddenly. A massive platform tilted, sending Eli sliding toward the edge. He leaped, barely catching himself on a smaller floating platform. Another hologram lunged from above. He dodged instinctively and struck, making it disappear in a flash of light. "You are faster than before," Leela said, circling him. "But do not rely on speed alone. Your mind must be sharper than your reflexes." Eli's chest heaved as he moved, but he focused. He began to notice subtle patterns in the hologram's movements. Tiny tells before they attacked, the way the environment influenced their actions, even Leela's small shifts in balance. He adapted, making split-second decisions that let him survive and strike effectively. The arena changed again, creating a narrow path over a glowing river. On the path, two large holograms appeared, aggressive and fast. Eli paused, realizing this was another choice test. Attack incorrectly and he would be overwhelmed. Choose wisely and he could gain the advantage. He analyzed the situation quickly. One hologram moved slower but stronger, the other faster but lighter. Trusting his instincts, he struck the faster one first, dodging its counterattack and making it vanish. Then he turned to the stronger one, striking carefully and removing it as well. Leela watched, her eyes showing approval. Good. You are learning to choose under pressure. That is more important than raw strength. Eli felt a surge of pride. He had survived countless challenges, learned new skills, and grown stronger with every trial. But he knew this was not the end. The final test was ahead. The arena shifted once more, opening into a vast open space with floating platforms, moving bridges, and glowing rivers beneath. This time, Leela stood across from him, her expression calm but intense. "This is the final test," she said. "No holograms, no distractions, just you and me. Everything you have learned will be challenged. This is your chance to prove what you have become." Eli's heart raced. He had trained, adapted, and learned, but facing Leela fully was different. She was not holding back today. Every strike, every feint, every movement would push him to the edge. The fight began instantly. Leela moved like lightning, her strikes precise and deadly. Eli blocked and dodged, moving with everything he had learned. His muscles ached, his lungs burned, but he refused to stop. Every strike he made, every counter, every dodge was sharper, faster, and smarter than before. The arena itself became part of the battle. Platforms shifted beneath their feet, rivers of energy flowed unpredictably, and bridges swayed. Eli learned to move with the environment, to anticipate changes, and use them to his advantage. He leaped, rolled, and struck, combining everything he had learned in training. Hours seemed to pass. Eli and Leela moved in a blur of motion, striking and dodging, testing each other to the limit. But something changed. Eli felt a new clarity. He could see the rhythm of Leela's movements, the subtle tells in her posture, and the flow of the arena. He moved not just with skill but with understanding. He landed a solid strike on Leela's shoulder. She paused briefly, a smile crossing her face. "You have learned well," she said, striking again. "But now you must decide, fight with instinct or fight with understanding." Eli's mind raced. For a moment he felt the old doubt, the fear of losing, of failing. But then he remembered every lesson, every challenge, every choice he had made. He realized that winning was not just about striking harder or moving faster. It was about knowing himself, trusting his instincts, and understanding his opponent. He moved with purpose, anticipating Leela's next strike before it came. He sidestepped, countered, and then landed a clean strike that made her step back. Eli's body was exhausted, but his mind was clear. He had learned the rhythm of the fight, the flow of the arena, and the strength within himself. For the first time, he realized he was not fighting just to win against Leela. He was fighting to prove what he had become, to test the limits of his own courage, skill, and understanding. The fight reached its climax. Platforms shifted, bridges swayed, and rivers glowed with energy beneath them. Leela struck, Eli dodged, and then he moved faster than he ever had, landing a decisive strike. Leela stepped back, nodding, her expression calm but approving. "You have done it," she said softly. "You have learned, adapted, and grown. You understand now. Victory is not just about defeating someone else. It is about understanding yourself and your abilities." Eli's chest heaved, sweat pouring down his face. He looked at Leela and smiled faintly. "So, who won?" he asked. Leela smiled. "We both did," she said. The test was never about defeating the other. It was about growth, understanding, and courage. You have passed. You are stronger than you realize. Eli felt a surge of pride and relief. He had trained, fought, and faced challenges beyond anything he had imagined. He had learned to trust himself, to adapt, and to understand both his strengths and his weaknesses. The arena shifted one last time, fading into soft blue light. The chamber returned to its calm state, and the glowing circle beneath their feet dimmed. Eli sank to the floor, exhausted but satisfied. "You have earned rest," Leela said. "But remember, the lessons you have learned here will guide you in everything you do. Strength, courage, and understanding will always matter." Eli closed his eyes, letting the exhaustion wash over him. He thought about the journey he had been through, the fights, the training, the choices, and the understanding he had gained. He felt a spark of confidence, a sense of potential, and a determination to keep growing, no matter what challenges awaited him. When he woke again, he would carry this strength with him, not just in combat but in life, in every decision he made, and in every challenge he faced. Eli Turner had come to this strange chamber to test himself. He had faced the impossible, learned beyond what he thought possible, and emerged stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever lay ahead. And as he sat there, breathing heavily but smiling faintly, he realized the truth. Victory was not about defeating another, it was about becoming the best version of yourself. The chamber was silent, the hum fading, and Eli Turner finally felt at peace. He had faced the ultimate challenge. He had learned, he had grown, and he was ready for whatever the universe had in store.